First, I'd like to begin by touching on something that Ariana brought up that's a pretty good point in support of our side, actually. She claims that raising the minimum wage would increase high school dropouts, except I have a study conducted by Alex Smith for the University of Virginia for the working paper titled The Minimum Wage and Schooling Decisions of Teenagers. According to his findings in 2014, a 2014 study found that raising the California minimum wage to $13 an hour would increase the incomes of 7.5 million families, meaning fewer would live in poverty. Teens who live in poverty are twice as likely to miss 3 or more days of school per month. And then from the minimum wage section of procon.org, they found that an increase in the minimum wage from $7.25 to $10.10 an hour would lead to a 2 to 4 percentage point decrease in the likelihood that a low socioeconomic status teen will drop out. I find that to be rather conclusive on the matter. I'd like to touch on something that the first negative brought up, and that prices for employers would increase. According to a study conducted by Michael Reich, Sylvia Allegretto, and Claire Matialu for the University of California, Berkeley in Fresno County, California, the poorest county in California for a very long time, they found that total wage costs would increase by 15.7% for restaurants and only 2.8% across all employers. Now, certainly restaurants will be negatively impacted, but on the whole, by and large, there will be a very minimal impact on employers. Further, from that same study, they say that a $15 statewide minimum wage by 2023 would generate a significant increase in earnings for about 5.26 million workers in California, while creating a small price increase borne by all consumers. So, what this means is that we all go to McDonald's, right? Or Wendy's or Burger King or whatever. If they have to pay their employees $15 an hour by 2023, 5 years from now, their prices would only increase a little bit, and everyone would have to pay for that. I'd have to pay for that. Bill Gates would have to pay for that. We would all have to pay for it. It wouldn't specifically target anyone of any specific socioeconomic background, because we all utilize these things whose prices are increasing. And another thing I'd like to bring up about the fact that prices would increase for employers from this same study, quote, employee turnover reduction, automation, and increases in worker productivity would offset some of these payroll cost increases. Businesses could absorb the remaining payroll cost increase by increasing prices by 0.6% through 2023. This is well below the annual inflation rate of 1.8%. Prices are going up by 1.8% every year because of inflation. If we increase the minimum wage, it would only go up by 0.6%, which is less than 1.8%. I don't see how increasing the minimum wage has such profoundly negative impact on prices. And finally, I would like to leave you with this piece of information from Janet Yellen, the chair of the Fed. She states that firms may also offer wages in excess of market clearing to reduce costly labor turnover. Labor turnover is defined as I'm laid off and someone else is hired, or I quit and someone else is hired. That costs money for businesses to go through. Increasing the minimum wage would reduce labor turnover because people are less likely to leave their jobs. And because they're less likely to leave their jobs, that's less hours you have to pay to an HR company, that's less hours you have to pay to an advertising company. Overall, it's just cheaper.